I will not fight this fucking guy. He's a fucking monster,
But I
bro.
respect it though because
I'm
he's
just
very
gonna fucking die, bro.
This is the first time. Hold on. This is the first time I ever heard you say any of this.
I know my boundary.
Jake Paul is feeling the heat as Anthony Joshua unleashes savage training sessions ahead of his next fight. The YouTuber turned boxer can't hide the nose watching AJ's raw strength and ruthless preparation. What started as whispers of a possible fight between Paul and Joshua has now blown up into full-blown speculation across the boxing world.
Jake Paul's manager here last week, and he's open to the fight. Any developments on that?
Lots. I mean, you know, this bizarre world that we live in, I think Jake Paul is absolutely the front runner to fight Anthony Joshua next. I'm here in New York for meetings about that fight. There's an open dialogue between myself and Nikisa, an MVP. I don't know what to tell you, Bridgie, other than it's mental. I mean, I can't sit here and tell you this is a 50-50 matchup. The whole thing is bizarre. I think it's extremely dangerous for Jake Paul. You know, I've got the general feedback is the boxing world saying, please, AJ, go in and evaporate this young man from the boxing world so we can all get on as normal. You've got Jake Paul fans thinking bizarrely they can beat Anthony Joshua. And the most bizarre thing out of everything is that Jake Paul genuinely believes he will beat Anthony Joshua.
Promoter Eddie Hearn hasn't held back, branding Paul a massive pretender while confirming serious talks are in motion, with early 2026 being targeted for the clash. Joshua, a seasoned and proven heavyweight champion, has shown time and again that he lived for excellence, grinding through brutal strength work, sparring the very best, and sharpening both his body and mind for war inside the ring.
Where's AJ for you right now?
I think he's an icon.
Yeah.
Like, if I ever met AJ, I would be starstruck. I remember being in New York City, my cousin's stag do, which would have been 2017, and he beat Klitschko.
Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, the bar erupted. It was amazing, right? That was peak.
Peak AJ.
History will be kind to AJ, I think, in terms of where he
History will
ranks.
be kind if he doesn't lose a couple more big ones. Because I know everyone's just got microwave memories where they just remember now.
Like, he's nowhere near to say Lennox Lewis, is he?
No.
But in terms of what he carried, nobody can sell an arena.
Yeah.
Nobody.
That's
like,
the
he's up there with like stars of other, like, he can be compared to Oasis for selling tickets.
Yeah, he'll fill a stadium.
Yeah, like
there was a time when I thought he could fight me and fill a stadium.
This
like,
is what I
literally,
was just about to say, that irrespective of the opposition.
Doesn't matter.
Like, irrespective. And he will never, nobody, I don't know, Daniel Dubois will never ever have that presence that AJ has.
Joshua's career proves he doesn't dodge elite competition. He went head-to-head with Alexander Usyk, the former undisputed cruiserweight king and a major threat in the heavyweight division. Their first fight in September 2021 at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium ended with Usyk outclassing Joshua, taking a unanimous decision win through precision, skill, and masterful technique.
Once the belts were finally out of my possession, which I was expecting to win, it just kind of tore me apart. And that's raw emotion live on your screen. Obviously, looking back, could I have dealt with things better? Yeah, of course. But at the time, that wasn't the priority. It was just outpour of emotion.
There are so many athletes we're seeing across gymnastics, cricket, rugby and football that have taken time out of their sport to deal with their mental health before coming back in. Yeah. Did you at any point in that period think, I need to take an extended break away from boxing before coming back in? It wasn't
the fact I needed to take a break. You know what it was? I actually watched a lot of like fighters, they've taken time out of the game for those reasons as well. And I think, okay, if they've done it, I should be doing it. But I got to look at myself as an individual. And what it is, I feel like if I take time out, I'm letting everyone catch up. And I want to be ahead of the game.
Paul may have shown solid athleticism and work ethic, but when it comes to real ring experience, his league's behind Joshua. His training sessions, while intense, mostly focus on building stamina and polishing basic boxing skills, a far cry from the high-level, war-ready preparation Joshua puts himself through.
Do you consider Jake Paul a fighter?
No.
Still not?
Wow, really? We also like punch each other and like elbow, like he was on the ground, I was like kneeing him in the face. Like.
So you get fighting your sibling to a whole nother level.
Training wrestling is so hard.
Yeah.
Dana has always been close to my family because of my dad. Then he's like texting Daniel Cormier and like, hey, like Bellemere needs to go to college. Where should you go? I was literally cage side sitting next to Dana. The arena, like I literally like get goosebumps sometimes like thinking of it. I've never heard an arena so loud Like my last fight, I broke the girl's arm in the first round, like minute something. Complete snap, like ripped every ligament in her elbow.
I want professional boxers. It's only been 3.5 years. You can only make a certain amount of fights happen. And the plan was always to fight Nate Diaz after Tommy Fury, win, lose, or draw. People think there's like this ducking of professional boxers. The next fight could potentially be a professional boxer. I'm just getting started. I'm 26 years old, and there's only so much I can do.
Boxing insiders have ripped into the idea of Paul versus Joshua, calling it a straight-up dangerous mismatch. Eddie Hearn himself has warned that the skill gap and power difference could spell disaster for Paul. With Joshua's world-class knockout power and deep professional pedigree, stepping into the ring with him could be less of a fight and more of a beating.
Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, 50-50 fight. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I just said in another interview, great if it is. I mean, if it is, then you've got no problem seeing it. But when AJ, I mean, decapitates a strong word, but you know, when he renders Jake Paul unconscious like he did to Francis Ngannou, don't then say, oh well, it was Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when AJ beat Francis Ngannou, Ngannou just had a fight that could have gone either way with Tyson Fury. Then AJ poleaxed him and everyone just said he's just an MMA fighter. Do you know what I mean? Jake Paul's not Francis Ngannou. But, as I said before, if you want to see Jake Paul exit the boxing world, make the fight.
Let's talk about AJ ever so quickly. I watched Jake Paul the weekend. I feel a bit dirty saying that because I'm not a fan of his, but he did say after the fight that he's sort of having DMs or he's dropping text messages to AJ. They're having a chat about a potential fight. What's your view on that, Eddie?
Well, look, he's calling out Gervonta Davis, who is a 135-pound lightweight, and he's calling out Anthony Joshua, that's a heavyweight monster. I think Jake Paul is crazy enough to fight Anthony Joshua because the money would be absolutely obscene. It's a catastrophic mismatch that people would tune in to watch because it would lead to the end of Jake Paul. Hopefully not literally, but it's that dangerous that, you know, it's a fight that I don't think should really happen, if I'm honest. I would say about Jake Paul, and I've said this in a couple of interviews today, I do think you start after giving him a margin of respect. You know, I think this guy is going through the motions, he's putting the hard spars in, he just went 10 rounds with, yes, a washed up fighter, but a former world champion that did train for that fight, but they're very clever in terms of the opponents that they pick. They're not going to gamble unless the money's out of control. And it wouldn't surprise me if Jake Paul, wanted to move forward with an Anthony Joshua fight. Honestly, AJ's coming tonight. He's not exactly looking at Jake Paul going, oh, that's my dream opponent. No. Would he go in there and give him a hiding for, you know, a massive chunk of money? Probably. I'd be saying, yeah, go on. I'd like to see it.
The hype around a Joshua Paul fight has pundits fuming, calling it reckless, foolish, and dangerously extreme. Analysts say the gap in power and experience isn't just bad matchmaking, it's irresponsible. Sure, it would rake in big money, but the health risks for Paul are massive, making the whole thing feel like a reckless publicity stunt instead of a true Spartan contest.
Well, I've got you, Billy. There's talks, obviously you're from a traditional side of boxing, there's talks of maybe an Anthony Joshua Jake Paul matchup. What do you make of that?
Joke. It's just money in it. It's just for money. Because he'll get absolutely pulverised by Big Joshua. Pulverised.
Tony Bellew, never afraid to speak his mind, has slammed the idea outright, calling it absolutely dangerously insane. He's warned about the massive size and experience gap, saying it's more circus act than real fight. Bellew even suggested that a far better and safer matchup for Joshua would be Canelo Alvarez, making it clear he's disgusted by the thought of Paul's legitimate opponent.
This is another level. This is a really dangerous. He ain't fighting a granddad. He isn't fighting a grandfather. It's absolute lunacy. It's insane. It's dangerously insane. Is right. And I never thought I'd say that in my lifetime, but because he says some crazy shit. But he probably could knock him out with his bell end.
In the ring,
it's just a gross mismatch.
Yeah.
Like, you don't understand his health is in jeopardy. So I'm not even entertaining it. I just think it's dangerous. And listen, I might have to work it, but it's just...
It's kind of ludicrous, isn't it, really?
It's insane. This boy is nuts. Is nuts. And I think he's putting his life before he's putting his life before money.
Yeah, it's
putting money before
crazy.
his life, which is just absolutely insane.
It's going to be.
Bellew has also ripped Paul for turning boxing into a celebrity game. He says treating a deadly sport like entertainment could lead to serious injury or worse. Bellew warns that the YouTuber trend in boxing risks destroying the sport's credibility if one of these stunt fights ends in tragedy.
Jake's not putting on no one because it would end immediately right there and then. The other claim to fame is slapping the shit out of your trainer. But I'm not going to be disrespected by anyone, especially a young child. I don't want no problems, but if you've got a problem, then no problem.
Joe Rogan has often praised Joshua's insane physique and athleticism. On his podcast, he said Joshua has a build of a superhero with incredible strength and physical gifts, proof of the discipline and work ethic that have made him a champion.
Like boxers today, if you look at like Anthony Joshua, who's the heavyweight champion of the world now.
Is
you
he?
look at him, yeah. He's a English fellow. He's a tank. I mean,
Is he?
Oh, man. You look at Anthony Joshua, he looks like a superhero.
Do those guys have as much stamina as these guys do, though?
Oh, yeah, they do
oh,
today.
They did?
Yeah, because the conditioning methods that they have today are just so superior. They understand rest and recovery, and they monitor your heart rate, and, you know, they're monitoring lactic acid buildup.
Frank Smith, CEO of Matchroom Boxing, has stirred up controversy by claiming that Joshua versus Paul could actually be bigger than Joshua versus Tyson Fury in global appeal. He insists that in today's fight market, nothing can match the commercial draw of Joshua taking on Paul. While acknowledging the matchup is unusual, Smith confirmed that talks for a 2026 showdown are very real.
Fight with Jake Paul does feel a bit random, Frank, doesn't it? With everything else that's going on in the fight game, I know that he's had some. He's been upping his game, getting some better opponents, and he's got a world ranking and all that. But I don't know. It's. I mean, I think there's other fights out there for AJ, aren't there? Really, with that feel a better fit than Jake Paul at this moment in time.
Yeah, look, I don't disagree with you. It is random, but at the same time, it's the biggest fight out there. It's bigger. The reality is Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul on a global scale is bigger than Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. And that's the world we live in right now. But the Tyson Fury fight is also a huge fight.
Yeah.
The announcement has split the boxing world. Some believe the fight will be a mockery of the sport, while others admit it could grab more worldwide attention than almost anything else.
It gets my goat. What is bigger, Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, or Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury? And for me, it's absolutely clear what's bigger. It's Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua, I think, you might throw to some Frank Smith comments in a minute, but Matchroom's Frank Smith. But that fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua should not get in the way of Fury and Joshua. Really, in my view, it's an absolute joke. It shouldn't be sanctioned. I really don't believe it should be sanctioned. I have a sneaking suspicion that it would be a very big fight. But the biggest thing is us rubbernecking to actually see if they do get to the point where they step in the ring together. Because Jake Paul's an area-level fighter, a British area-level fighter, and Anthony Joshua is still a killer and a live heavyweight. That should not be sanctioned anywhere in the world, in my view.
It's dangerous, mate.
Very dangerous.
It brings the sport into disrepute.
UFC interim heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall has bluntly said the main reason fighters go after Jake Paul is the payday. He admitted that the money involved in fighting Paul is simply too good to ignore, even if the fight itself doesn't make much sense from a competitive standpoint.
Who's the greatest of all time in boxing?
Boxing?
Heavyweight.
Me.
I agree. I mean, do you get upset when they start throwing other names?
Listen, all right, I'm not being egotistical, okay? They said they know. If you put up some statistics or something, ask the world. Not one guy, 10 guys, ask the world.
Watching Netflix on Friday night, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson?
Yes, I was. But what did I make of it? I think commercially and a business sense, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Both men made a ton of money. So best luck to them, congratulations. As far as the boxing fight, it wasn't a fight, it was a tip and tap, don't hit me, I won't hit you. Circle the ring a little bit, make it look good. That's all it was. So I don't really make too much of it.
Paul's habit of calling out legends frustrates hardcore boxing fans. Critics say he's chasing headlines, not proving himself. He's even called out Tank Davis. But with Davis being a lightweight and Paul fighting much heavier, it would mean Paul draining himself to make the weight. which could ruin his ability to bulk back up in time to face Joshua later.
So a Tank Davis versus Jake Paul exhibition match was going to take place after the Lamont Roach fight until Tank drew with Roach, leading to a rematch. Now, I'm going to say the unpopular opinion here, but the size difference would have been way too much. I mean, even if Tank brought Jake down to 190 or 200 pounds, he would have still been way too big. I mean, no matter how good a lightweight is, they would have almost no chance against a cruiserweight or heavyweight ranked top 200 in his division. And I'm sure people are going to bring up Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul, but Logan is just not a good boxer relative to Jake. You know, Jake's been training for a couple years, he's had over 10 pro fights, and Mayweather was also junior middleweight in this fight, not a lightweight like Tank. But that being said, I'm glad Tank and Jake isn't happening. You know, it would have been a fun spectacle, but I'm not the biggest fan of the exhibition stuff. And instead now Tank and Roach will be rematching in June. You know, the first fight did a little over 260,000 pay-per-view buys, which isn't bad in this market. Roach absolutely deserves a second fight, so I do think the rematch will do far more numbers. And as for Jake, I want to see him fight big-name boxers around his weight class. You know, the Tommy Fury rematch, for example, he's undefeated. The first fight did a little over 800,000 pay-per-view buys. He's around the same age range. So that's the fight I want to see, not the exhibitions. But let me know what you guys think.
Former world champion Carl Froch has no respect for Paul as a fighter. He has said Paul doesn't really know how to box and just bounces around the ring. After watching Paul's fight with Tommy Fury, Froch called it a complete mismatch and made it clear Paul is nowhere close to being a legitimate contender.
I mean, I don't really take Jake Paul that serious. He can't really box. He can have a little fight, he can have a swing. Swings away, stands up straight, and he throws punches, but it's not professional boxing. Because when I watch him box, he does so much wrong. It's just everything's wrong. It's so bad. He's got leaky defence. He telegraphs his punches. Like, you put him in with someone his own size, it was a professional, and it's a mismatch. And you'll see that if he ends up fighting somebody. Tommy Fury, bless him. He's a pro boxer, but he's inexperienced. He's got no amateur pedigree. He's a raw novice, or maybe just above the raw novice. I was saying earlier, where would I put him in terms of levels? He'd do well to win a British title. He's at that sort of level. And then from British title to world level, it's like different worlds. It's like totally different. It's like a different sport.
Rampage Jackson, ex-UFC light heavyweight champ, has openly criticized Paul's career path, saying he deliberately picks fighters who are either old or past their prime to stack the odds in his favor. Many fans agree, saying Paul's matchups lack the danger and competitiveness that real boxing is built on.
Jake Paul, no, but I'm never going to call out Jake Paul again because I saw Butterbean call him out and they looked pathetic. So I'm never going to call out Jake Paul. But I've called out Jake Paul and stuff like that. Everybody calling out Jake Paul, and Jake Paul. I'm not calling out Jake Paul. He won't fight me for another 10 years until I'm too old to get in there. I'm not. Everybody know that's a money fight and stuff like that. But fuck, I don't give a fuck about him.
Just overall, your thoughts on his opponent selection these last few fights?
He's smart. He's smart. Him.
Joshua has laughed off Paul's challenge, saying it's just a grab for relevance and money. He believes Paul relies on big-name opponents like him to stay in the spotlight. And while influencer boxing might be bringing in younger audiences and massive pay-per-view sales, the true boxing world still wants the sport to be about real competition.
We were involved in the sort of earlier days of that influencer world. We did the second Logan Paul KSI fight in LA. Numbers were huge. We did Jake Paul's professional debut in Miami in 2019 around the Super Bowl. And then I think we made a decision to move away from it because I think the focus of our business was we got to just keep focused on professional boxing. Maybe in 10 years we'll look back and go, crazy, should have kept on doing that.
So, what's your call? Is Jake Paul biting